Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dhena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. We're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and today's verse is 7th Canto, 15th chapter, text number 35. Translation: When one's consciousness is uncontaminated by material lusty desires, it becomes calm and peaceful in all activities. For one is situated in eternal blissful life. Once situated on that platform, one does not return to materialistic activities. Kama adibi, by various lusty desires. Anavidham, unaffected. Prashanta, calm and peaceful. Akila vritti, in every respect or in all activities. Yet, that which. Chittam, consciousness. Brahma Sukha Sprishtam, being situated on the transcendental platform in eternal bliss. Na, not. Eva, indeed. Utishteta, can come out. Karichit, at any time. Kamadibira navidham prashanta kila vrittisat vrittiyat prashanta kila vrittiyat chitam brahma sukha sprishtam naivo tishteta karhichit Kamadibira navidham prashanta kila vrittiyat chitam brahma sukha sprishtam naivo tishteta karhichit. Vaishnavis. Kamadibira navidham prashanta kila vrittiyat chitam brahma sukha sprishtam naivo tishteta karhichit. Purport: Brahma Sukha Sprishtam is also described in Bhagavad Gita 18:54. Brahma Puta Prasannatma Nashochati Nakangshati Samak Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Lapate Param. One who is transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed toward every living entity. In this situation, he begins transcendental activities or devotional service to the Lord. Generally, once elevated to the transcendental platform of Brahmasukha, transcendental bliss, one never comes down. Now please listen carefully to the next sentence. But if one does not engage in devotional service, there is a chance of his returning to the material platform. Aruhya krishrena param padam tata patantyodo nadrita yushmadangraya. One may rise to the platform of Brahmasukha, transcendental bliss, but even from that platform one may fall down to the material platform if he does not engage himself in devotional service. In my big suitcase. In the big suitcase against the wall. It's a little round black thing.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's right at the bottom of the suitcase. Not much in there. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gaur Premanande. So it was Benjamin Franklin, who was a famous entrepreneur and statesman in America. He actually started the first volunteer fire department. And he said, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I knew you would get that.
An ounce of prevention.
Just hold on, I'll unpack it. So, an ounce, 1 ounce, a small, if you give a little bit of attention to preventing something, then it's worth putting a lot into curing the result of your bad actions later. Anyway, lost in translation. So it's very important, Prabhupada mentions in the beginning of the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that one should be afraid of the material world. This is a Bluetooth device. You push this button here. You don't need this. That's just the charger. Here, any brainy devotees out there. This makes it discoverable. If you connect it to that Bluetooth, inconvenience regretted, but it's very inconvenient not being able to hear what's going on. So in the 10th canto, Devaki was very much afraid of Kamsa. And Srila Prabhupada writes, in accordance with the previous acharyas, that is that this fear of Maya, of the material world, it burns up one's material desires. And so one should fear Maya. Prahlad Maharaj says, Trastosmaham kripana vatsala dushahogra samsara chakra kadanada. That he said, I'm not afraid of your fearsome form as Lord Nrsingadev.
私はプララーダ・マハラジが言いましたけど、あなたのね、ナシンガデブの恐れのね、姿を私は怖くないです。
But he said, what I'm afraid of is your Vishnu Maya.
でもあなたのビシュヌマヤにすごく怖いです。
And he describes Nishpidyamanam Bupakarsha Vibhu Prapannam, because he said it's like a big crushing wheel. If you get caught in that wheel, then you'll be taken away, and who knows when you'll be able to come back to the human life.
すごいもうね、カットこの人生をカットしたらいつ戻ってこれるかわからないから。
In Los Angeles, in the kitchen in New Dwarka, there's a big mixing machine.
ドラカでね、ロサンゼルスでカッティングマシンがあるんですけど。
Not cutting, mixing.
ミキサーのマシン。
It's meant to mix large quantities of like chapati dough.
チャパティのドーとかね、ミックスする大きな機械があります。
And it has these moving parts that go around and around.
あちこちとね、動くんですよ、パートが。
And the devotee there was telling me that you have to be very careful when you're dealing with that machine.
このね、機械使うときにね、ちょっと気をつけなきゃいけないよって言ってた。
Because if you're not paying attention and you put your hand in the wrong way, then it'll pull you in.
だからね、ちょっと気をつけてないと指がね、なんかこう切れたりするんですよ。
It will mix your arm in with the rest of the dough.
あなたの腕をね、巻き込まれてね、その銅と一緒にね、巻き込まれますよ。
I was at a gathering once with some God brothers when I was in the UK.
UK のね、ギャザリンのね、ところに行って。
And we were talking about Maya.
マーヤのことについてね、語ってました。
And one of the God brothers who he had taken a break from Krishna consciousness for 15 years.
15年間ね、クリシナ意識から去ってたね、ゴッドブラザーがいたんですよ。
He felt that we were not being strong enough in describing the strength that Maya has to pull one away from the process of Krishna consciousness.
だからちょっと物質的なね、すごい望みっていうのを取り去るっていうのはクリシナ意識でもちょっと十分じゃないなってよく感じてました。
He said, if you're not very careful,
あなたやっぱりすごくね、注意深くなかったんですよ。
then he said that Maya will eviscerate you. See if you can get that. Eviscerate means to pull out your insides. Like,
あなたのね、中身をね、もう取り出しちゃったんですよ。
like harakiri. She'll pull out your intestines.
あなたのほら、腸のね、中身をね、取り出しちゃったんですよ。
And he said she'll wrap them around her walking stick as a trophy.
なんかトロフィーみたいにその腸の中身をね、巻き込んで。
That here's another fool who thought that he could test my power.
これでバカな方がね、これテストしちゃったっていうか自分で。
So in the seventh canto, recently I read, Prabhupada said that not only one should practice devotional service, but at the same time one must be careful.
まあ精神献身奉仕はね、修練してるだけじゃなくて、ケアフル、注意深くなってはいけない。
Because Maya is expert.
マヤはエキスパートだから。
And she presents each person with a special package.
だから個々のスペシャルなパッケージを用意してやるわけですよ。
That is perfectly suited for each victim.
だから一人一人すごくね、もうぴったしなものを用意してるんですよ。
It matches the desire that one has within one's
自
heart.
分が持ってる望みにぴったしなものを用意してくれてる。
And she brings it and says, "Here, is this what you want?"
ほら、これですよって。
Prabhupada once commented, he remarked, this is in the Veda base, that you are not sufficiently afraid of Maya.
あなたはマヤのね、特別なことをね、恐れていない。
And in the seventh canto, he writes, this is a regulative principle.
これがレギュレートなプリンシプル、原則です。
One should not fall from his exalted position.
あなたの
立場から落ちないように。
立場から落ちないように。その絵を見てください。
気をつけて
気をつけてください。
ください。Thomas Jefferson, another American statesman,
そのトマス・ジョブソンの話ですけど。
he said the price of liberty
何
Price of
Christian.
freedom. Price of freedom.
そこから自由になること。
is eternal vigilance.
永遠なビジランス。
Be careful.
すごく気をつけてほしい。
Always. You have to be very careful. Like in America, they were breaking away from the British crown.
ブリティッシュクラウンからね、ちょっと落ちたのは。
So they were thinking about liberty from tyranny, from being ruled by foreign rulers. Oh, Krishna.
すいません。ちょっとわかる。
No translation today. We can have English class.
What's that?
No translation today.
Okay, so I'll be more simple. So the word vigilance, it comes from the word vigil.
ちょっと前からさ、聞いて。
Vigilance imi wa awake.
単語。言ってくださいね。
自由になる話ですね。アメリカの話ですけど、アメリカはブリティッシュの方から自由になるの話ですね。
So vigilance, it means to keep a careful watch for any danger or difficulties.
だから注意深く見て、なんか危険なことあるかどうかをそれ見る。
And the Shastra describes how Maya sneaks into our life.
で、シャストラで経典ではどういうふうにマヤが入るかそれを書いてあるんですね。こういうふうに見てるんですね、マヤ。
Yes. First is if we have pride.
多分エゴとかプライドがあるんですね。
That opens the door to Maya.
で、そのプライドあるとマヤのドアが開けます。
And laxity, we start to let go of our strict practice.
多分リラックスして多分修練するんですけど、ちょっとリラックスするんですね。
That invites Maya to come in the house.
リラックスするとマヤに家に来てください、そういうふうに私たちから訪問するね。
Justification, it welcomes Maya as a permanent residence in the house.
多分何とか理由で大切するとか話する、それでマヤが入るんですね。
So, in the practice of Krishna consciousness, attitude is everything.
多分態度が一番重要ですね。
Prabhupada writes this in the Nectar of Instruction.
ネクターオブインストラクションでシュレパブバッタ書いてるんですね。
Quote, advancement in Krishna consciousness
クリシュナ意識でアドバンスする、浄化する。
depends on the attitude of the follower.
クリシュナ意識で浄化するのは修練している人の態度に依存する。
Here are some of what follows a list of risky attitudes.
多分今これからリスキーの態度について話します。
Number one, I am advanced.
多分私が一番天性アドバンスしているとか、そういう考え方。
先生。
私先生でした。
Number two, I am liberated.
多分私が浄化されている。
Number three, I can cut corners.
でも私何でもできるもの。
Number four, I am independent.
で、私は独立である。
These assure that Maya will stay in our life or invite her in.
でもこの4つ分でマヤが私たちのライフに入ることができます。
Now here's how to lock the door on Maya so she can't get in.
マヤのドアはどういうふうにロックするか、それの話ですね。
These are the safe attitudes.
これは安全の態度です。
Number one,
一番、
I'm not liberated.
私浄化されてない。
Number two, I am never above chastisement.
私が相手から批判するとか批判するより超えた人がじゃない。
Number three, I remember where I came from.
で、私がどこから来たかそれいつも覚えてる。
The Prabhupada writes about this in one of his purports.
で、プラブパーがそれについてパッパって解説で書いてるんです。
He said everyone should remember that he or she was saved from Maya by someone else.
で、私たちがみんなね、ちゃんと覚えないといけないことはいつかどこか私たちがマヤから助けたんですね。どなたかから。
Another safe attitude, everything belongs to Krishna.
で、もう一つ安全な考え方はすべてクリシュナに依存している。それはすべてクリシュナのものですと。
And then Prabhupada says, I am the servant's servant a million times removed.
で、私が見つかいの見つかいです。
And one should wear trinada sunichena around one's neck as a garland.
首にね、トルナーラビスニジェナそれをいつも。
And one can adopt the following mantra.
で、今から言うマントラをいつも。
I live to be corrected.
で、私はいつも正しくする。
And a way to fortify oneself from the attack of Maya
で、マヤのアタックからどういうふうに守る
is
か。
to practice one's sadhana,
で、自分のサーダナを修練する。
which is strict, serious, and sincere.
多分先生、研究者に真剣に。
Mm. And Prabhupada writes in a purport in the fourth canto,
で、4巻の解説で、
keep your eyes trained to spot offenses.
で、多分自分の目をいつもトレーニングするね。そのトレーニングは侮辱を見る。
But especially one's own offenses,
多分自分からしてる侮辱。
not everybody else's.
他の人の侮辱じゃなくて自分の侮辱。
Also, one should develop a taste.
多分味わいもどういうふうに持っていくか、それの修練する。
And one should have sufficient shelter of advanced devotees.
で、ちょっと浄化された純粋のディボティのに依存する。
One should have loving relationships with devotees.
ディボティとの愛情を持っている関係。
And one should feel that one's getting guidance regularly.
で、いつも外からガイダンスしてもらう。
Also, Prabhupada writes in the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam
シャプロバが8巻でも書いてるんです。
that we need to be balanced in our life.
で、いつも自分の人生とかライフをバランスにする。
And he says we're soldiers against Maya's influence.
で、マヤからいつも、マヤといつも戦ってるんですね。
So he said we need three things.
で、3つのことが必要です。
One is physical strength.
で、体的な力。
Two, enthusiasm.
熱意。
And three is sensual power.
源がある力。
So he writes this in relationship to Gajendra.
で、ガジェンドラの話でこういうふうに書いてる。
Because Gajendra was powerful on land but not in water.
ガジェンドラが多分土地で力が持ってるんですけど、でも水で力がない。
Prabhupada says that one should find the proper ashram where one can feel this physical strength, enthusiasm, and sensual power.
だからみんなが自分の一番いいとか合ってる、似てるアシュラムを探すね。で、そこでこの3つのことできる。
Everyone has a different nature.
で、みんなが違う性格ですね。
So we should live in such a way that we feel naturally enthusiastic and we have strength.
だから私らが自然で力が来るようなアシュラムにする。
Also, the Shastras recommend that we should take time to self-reflect. We should look inside ourselves and see how we're doing.
で、経典でもう一つこと書いてるのは、自分のことをまとめる。
We should take time regularly to see what we've gotten from Krishna consciousness.
で、ちょっと時間をとって、クリシュナ意識から何をもらったか、それをちょっと整理する。
And take time to deliberate, to think about what are our next moves in life? Where are we going?
で時間をとってこれからこの人生でどこに行くどういうふうに行くそれを考える。
This is called manana. We're taking time to look within and observe one's position.
でこれがマナナと言いますね。自分の立場、自分の状況を見る、段階を見る。
So the Shastra gives different lessons of devotees practicing devotional service who have fallen down, been attracted by Maya.
でマヤで落ちた利用人たちの話が経典でたくさん書いてあるんですね。
First we have Bharat Maharaj.
でバラットマハラジの話ね。
Now Bharat Maharaj was very advanced enough to leave his kingdom and go to the forest.
でバラットマハラジが高い段階の利用人で自分の全部捨てて森に行ったんですね。
But he had such a fall down that it's one of the examples given in the
で
Shastra.
もバラットマハラジの話、バラットマハラジはどういうふうに落ちたか、それがバガバタムに書いてるんですね。
Of course, Sanatana Goswami says in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita that he did it to set an example for everyone else.
ブハッバーゴタンでサナタンゴースワミが言っているのはこのバラットマハラジがこれをみんなに例としてするようにやったの。
And from the section of the Bhagavatam about Bharat Maharaj's falling down,
でバーゴタンのこのバラットマハラジの話で
Prabhupada gives 3 reasons why he fell down.
でシュリバゴバンが3つの理由が
The first, foolishness.
愚か者
The second is misplaced compassion.
でカンパッションを間違えたカンパッション
And the third is willful neglect of sadhana.
で修練を無視にするとか断るとか
So the second person who is given
2番目の
in Shastra, Ajamil.
アジャミの話
Ajamil started as a dutiful young brahmana.
でアジャミが若い時は一番守ってるブラハマンでしたね
But he fell down, very spectacular fall down.
でどういうふうに落ちたかそれがすごい面白い話です
And here are the 3 reasons that Prabhupada gives why he fell down.
でシュラ・プラブパーダがアジャミについての3つの
The first
理由
is
が
accidental exposure.
自己的じゃなくて無意識でなんか見る
The second is weakness of heart.
ハートの弱さ
And the third is bad association.
で悪い個性
The next fall down,
次の落ちた理由は
Indra.
インドラの話ですね
Indra no Kumaro. And the first reason that Prabhupada gives is pride.
で一番の理由はプライドですね
And the second is offense to the spiritual master.
で精神指導者にの侮辱
He was sitting in a huge assembly of demigods,
インドラがみんな半神たちと座ってた
and everyone was worshiping him and appreciating him.
みんながインドラを霊の捧げたんですね
And when his guru, Brihaspati, came into the assembly, Indra just kept sitting there.
でブルハスパティ自分のグルーがブルハスパティがそこに来た時はインドラが見ただけですね
There was a mood in the room created because of Indra's pride.
でインドラのプライドでなんとかのムードが作ってたんです
Just like if somebody comes to Mangalartik after they ate garlic the day before,
で多分誰かがガラティに入ると
it comes out of the pores. It's like you can smell it.
自分の汗の匂いとかね体の穴から出てくるんです
The devotees turn around like, hey, who ate garlic?
で、多分ガーリック食べて誰が来たんですかね。その匂いが出てくるんです。
So when there's pride in the heart, it comes out. Everyone notices that
プライドが
that really
ハー
stinks.
トの中にプライドがあると、みんながそれを見るんですね。それ出てくるから。
So practically, Brihaspati, as soon as he walked in, he could smell that pride.
でブラフスパティがそこに入った時がすぐ分かったんですね。多分ここにプライドが。
So he just turned around and walked away.
だからブラフスパティが戻りました。
And then Indra said, "Oops, what did I do?"
で、その瞬間でインドラが、あ、これなんか間違
But after that, not only Indra, but all the demigods fell from their position.
で、その瞬間の後でインドラだけじゃなくてみんな安心たちが。
The next fall down was
次の例は
Saubhari Muni. So Saubhari Muni
サボリ
made an offense to a Vaishnava.
ワイシナワに封じこした。
He offended Garuda.
インドラを封じこした。
And because of that, he later had to fall down.
で、それの理由で将来に落ちたんですね。
So Raghunath Bhatta Goswami made a vow that he would not speak ill of any Vaishnava.
だからバッタゴスワミが決めたんですね。ワイシナワについて侮辱しない。
And Prabhupada says that anyone is welcome to follow in his footsteps.
誰もそれを従う。
There's no obligation that you have to criticize Vaishnavas.
で、ワイシナワを侮辱する必要はないですね。
Sometimes people say, no, I have to do this. It's my duty to criticize Vaishnavas.
多分時々ね、献身である両手が考えるんですね。ワイシナワを批判する。それは私の義務ですよ。
But you can be free from that obligation
で、その義務から自由になることが必要ですね。
because it's not true that you're obligated to criticize
それ
Vaishnavas.
の理由は、ワイシナワとかバッタを侮辱するとか。
And one should be very careful. It doesn't matter, big Vaishnav, small Vaishnav.
で、ワイシナワの立場ね、立場を見ないで。
You notice in the story of Dhruva Maharaj,
ローマラの話で。
Dhruva Maharaj's stepmother offended little Dhruva when he was just 5 years old.
ローマラのお母さんが、義理の母がローマラを侮辱した。
She didn't know that he was going to become a famous
その
Paramahamsa.
時は多分義理の母が知らなかったんですね。ブルワがいい献身、純粋の献身者になる。
But later, she and her son were burned up in a forest fire.
で、将来にその後でね、その母と息子が
It was a result of her
火
offense
で
to Dhruva, even before he was a great devotee.
多分ブルワが純粋の領地になる前に侮辱したんですけど、それの結果が出たんです。
So it's a chance that anyone can become a great devotee.
だから誰もいつか偉大な献身者になる可能性があります。
So don't think, oh, this is nothing, it's just a kid.
だから多分ちっちゃいの子供とかを見てももういいよ、そういうふうに考え。
Oh, the guy's just sweeping the floor, he's nothing.
多分誰かがお寺を掃除してるので、
And I can say something bad to this devotee.
だからその人に何か命令するとか批判するしてもいい。
First of all, a devotee is a devotee, big or small.
一番重要なのは献身者は献身者ですね。どんなな。
And in Shastra it said that on the Ganges there are many waves.
で、ガンジスってたくさんの波がありますね。
Whether they're big waves or small waves, they're all Ganga water.
大きな波かちっちゃいの波がそれが関係ないですね。それがガンガの。
So if someone's a big devotee or a small devotee, they're still devotees.
だからリボティはリボティですね。
And also, they may become really big devotees.
だから将来的にいつか偉大な献身者になる可能性がいつもありますから。
So in any case, be careful. Don't offend Vaishnavas.
気をつけないといけないんですね。ワイシナワの侮辱について。
Now, if one does fall down
多分どなたが落ちた時も、
and gets entrapped by Maya,
多分マヤでここまで。
even a little bit or a lot,
多分少しかたくさん。
here's how to make a comeback.
だからどういうふうにまだ戻ってくるか。
First of all, Prabhupada writes in the light of the Bhagavad,
ライトバーガタンでシュレババガタン。
one should understand that failure is the pillar to success.
多分落ちたというのは将来的に成功になる。
It doesn't mean you're finished.
だから落ちたというのはもう終わりましたとか。
There's no eternal hell in Vaishnavism.
だから永遠な地獄はないですね。
There's always a chance to redeem oneself.
だからいつもチャンスがありますね。
Even the big demons, Prabhupada writes in the Bhagavatam, they may be pushed down to the lower species of life for one lifetime, and then when they come back into the human form of life, then the result of their saying, I hate Krishna, Krishna's bad, the Krishna Krishna gets counted, but all the other stuff got burned up.
多分悪魔たちも一番低い段階の人生に一回生まれて、その後で徐々に人間の体に持った後でクシナクシナと言って、それで浄化されます、悪魔たちも。
So the first secret to making a comeback is don't go away.
だから世界秘密は一番の秘密は落ちてもその場所から離れないようにする。
Stay close to devotees and stay close to the practice of devotional
だから
service.
利用人たちとの近い関係を持っていくと修練 続ける。
The second is own the problem, admit that what you did wrong.
2番目は多分私たちなんか間違えた、それも責任を取る。
And the third is to chant constantly.
で3番目はいつも名前を唱える、チェンティングする。
Nama paradita naname nanam deva harantyagan pravishani prayuktani tam yevarta karani cha. Sorry for mangling the verse. It says in the Padma Purana that if one's an offender in chanting, one should chant constantly.
でパルノプランまで書いてるんですね、この説で。多分批判とかオフェンスした後でいつも唱える、チェンティングする。
And a few other points about how Maya works.
でもう少しポイントがありますね、マヤどういうふうに働くか。
One is that discouragement is Maya's most effective tool. Discouraged, if you say you become discouraged, then that's one of Maya's tools to keep you in Maya.
自分をがっかりするから自分がっかりする。それがマヤの一番のトリックですね。
11th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, and the verse that starts Jata Shada Makatasu Nirvina Sarvakarmasu Veda Dukkha Makankamam Yage Panishvara Tatoba Jaitamam Prita Shada Lord Drujanishaya Jushamanam Statan Kamams Dukkho Darkams Jagarayan. Krishna says you should feel a little regret for your mistakes, but not depression.
クリシュナがこのバーガータムの11巻で言ってるんですね。多分何か間違えたとか侮辱するときはそれについてがっかりになることそれを気にして多分それによってがっかりする必要はないですね。それを分かったときは。
And now we'll take some reflections or questions.
何か質問とか感想あれば。
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
Could you elaborate on the point about what is the difference between criticism and correction?
What is the difference between criticism and correction?
批判するとか改善する、それも違いは。
Especially for a person in a leadership position.
Especially for somebody in a leadership position.
リーダー
It
の立
seems
場
like
に
inevitable
It seems inevitable
to point out
to point out
the room for improvement,
the room for
or the
improvement
mistakes in people.
or the mistakes that people are
多
making.
分リーダーの立場で世話している人たちがいつも他の献身者の
So
改
it
善
seems
の
like an
ポイント
impossible
が
task
間
It
違
seems
いなことを
impossible
教えないといけ
to
ない。
avoid
criticism.
criticism.
だからそのリーダーの立場でどういうふうに批判
And
する
oftentimes
必要があ
people
り
will
ます。
say,
Sometimes people say,
I will not tell anybody
I will
what
not
to
tell
do
anybody
or
what to
they
do
wrong,
or what they do wrong,
多分
because otherwise I will make offense.
because otherwise they'll make
多
offense.
分病気たちがいつも考えるのは私が相手が何か間違えたとかそれを
And thus they just say,
それ話すとオフェンスになる。
you're okay, I'm okay.
だから病気があなたも大丈夫、私も大丈夫、そういうふうに言いますね。
So, as I mentioned earlier, that is an option that is bona fide.
これが一つオプショナル。
If you decide that I won't get involved,
私がそこ
The Shastra says that the universe is working in a uniform way.
宇宙が動いてるんですね。
So-
決めた道で
Why either praise or criticize?
だからなんでどなたかに批判する
But
必要がありますか
Of the two, the Smriti Shastra says it's okay to praise, but not to criticize.
でスムーティーシャストラが言ってるのは誰かにプレイズ
And
祈るプレイズ
praise. Say,
喜ぶ
yeah.
とか
Based on the evidence of Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, one can sign a little release form that says, I opt out of criticizing anyone for any reason.
ログナッタ・スパルタ・ゴスワミが言ってるのはなんか紙で書いて私が誰にも批判しないそれをサインする
However, if one is a Goshtianandi, means you're involved in the preaching movement,
多分どんなリボティがあるリボティがティーチングの運動に参加している
and you're taking responsibility to help refine others, like you have dependents who you need to refine,
多分責任の立場を持っている人が
then there's a fine art to criticism.
だからどういうふうに批判するとかそれのアートがありますね
Actually, there's a devotee named Peter Burwash.
もしくは
He had has had a very successful business career.
だからビジネスで一番成功した人ですね
He built an international company that won many, many awards.
世界中の会社が建てたんですね
And he spent time with Prabhupada.
その人がシラパブ
Prabhupada gave him some instructions about management and things like that.
シラパブバから管理についていろいろ教えもらったんですね
And I was talking to him about this issue of criticism.
でワシシラパブがその両手とこの批判するそれについて話したんです
Or more accurately, correcting those who are employees or who are dependents.
その会社に社員とかにカレクトする
Of course, this is within a corporate context.
多分これが会社の話ですけど
But he said when he gets a new employee,
多分新品の社員が来たら
and he asked them, so how do you like your criticism?
で多分その社員に聞きますねどういうふうにあなたを打ち描いたそれを言った方がいいですか
Do you like it to be direct, or should I be more indirect?
多分直接言った方がいいですか
In writing or in person?
書いた方がいいですか
On a scale of 1 to 10, how sensitive are you?
多分1から15でどういうふうにそれを受けるんで
He
すか
said every person is different,
みんなが違うんですね人々
and therefore it's an art. You have to see how a person can take it or not.
多分だからみんなが違うだからその人がそれを受けるかどうかそれを考えないといけないです
A book came out in the 1970s called The 1 Minute Manager.
1 minute manager という本がありますね
And in this book, the author says he propounds this way in which to help refine people without heavy criticism.
でその本で書いてるんですねどういうふうにみんなね自分のために仕事をしている人にあなた間違えたそれを教える
He said within your organization, you should go around and try to catch people doing something right.
だから会社に仕事をしている人にいる人が何が正しいことをやってるかそれを探す
And when you do, you should stop and give them a 1 minute appreciation.
でもし何か誰かがいいことをやってるそれを見たらそこにすぐと思ってその人にそれを言うね
And he said, then if somebody's doing something wrong,
でも今はいいことについて話したら
they notice it because you didn't stop and say anything.
でそこでみんなが分かるんですねあなたはいいことをやったら何も言わない
And you can try this.
でそれをちょっと修理
It actually works.
それがいつ
If you
も
go around in a family or an organization and you take time to appreciate what people are doing right, then they start getting encouraged.
で多分これをみんな修練しないといけないことですね誰かがどんながいいことを、行ったらその人にそれを言う
And I've even gotten letters before that said, did I do something wrong? You didn't say anything.
でもご自身が僕が前に手紙とかもらったんですけど何も言ってないから私何も間違えていないですか
So, Prabhupada writes in the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita,
17巻 17章でシルバブがバグディータで
about the austerities of speech.
話の修練
And he says that one should correct those who are actually one's students.
私の自分の生徒に正しいことを教える。
Just like if someone has voluntary students and they come and say, please correct me.
多分どなた料理が私の自分のところに来て私なんか間違えたそれを教えてください。
As an example, this is what the guru-disciple relationship is meant to be like.
それがグルーと弟子の関係。
Like Arjuna went to Krishna and said, okay, I give up, you correct me.
多分アルジュナもクリシュナのところに行って私もう何もわかんないから教えてください。そう言ったんです。
So that's what disciple means. It comes to a person and says, okay, I'll take it from you, you correct me.
でもディサイパルはそんな人ですね。グルーのところとか人のところに行って私を教えてください。で私それを受ける。
But even then, the person who's acting in the role of guru has to be very careful.
多分そういうふうに言ったとしてもグルーとしての人とか教えてる人もちょっと気をつけないといけない。
In a letter, Prabhupada wrote to one senior manager in ISKCON.
イスカンのシニアのマネージャーに書いた手紙の話ですけど。
And he said, I've given my own blood to bring these new people to come to Krishna
自
consciousness.
分の全部力とか地位を使ってその新しい人たちに来てもらったんですね。
He said, don't be too harsh on them.
だからその人に批判しないでくだ
Because
さい。
he said, you'll break them.
でそれを批判するとその人た
He
ち
said, don't break them.
だからその人たちに
And Prabhupada was careful about that, and you'll notice that he had different modes of dealing with different disciples.
全部僕はもういろんな料理を個人的にやり取りしたんですね。
So even if someone signs up and says, you please correct me,
多分誰かが私たちのところに来て教えてくださいと
you still have to be careful.
そしてもちょっと気をつけないといけない。
Find out what encourages them most.
でその人のいいことを探す。
And also, if someone didn't sign up for your correction,
多分誰かが来てないとしても
don't think it'll be effective to walk around the world and tell everybody what to do.
でも世界中に書いてどういうふうにする何をするかそれをみんなに言うとか命令するそれがいいことはないです。
Because they won't listen anyway.
だから誰もそれを受けないんですね。
And you'll just become a royal jerk.
で多分ジョークとか冗談になりますね。
Yeah. There's more to be said, but it's an important topic. Thanks for bringing it up.
重要なトピックですけど話することがいっぱいありますね。そのそういった
Yes.
I forgot all of the four, but the four attitudes, dangerous attitudes from Maya. I'm advanced, I'm independent, and who knows the other two? Help me.
Well, there's more, but these are suggested attitudes to watch out for.
態度について
I am liberated.
私が浄化されている。
Also, Jamuna, the Prabhupada's disciple Jamuna, who passed away recently, she said in her opinion, the most dangerous attitude that develops within ISKCON is entitlement.
多分一番危険な態度はイスコンでの態度は何か立場を持つとか。
Because one starts to think, because I'm this or that, I'm entitled to certain privileges and rights.
多分私が何か立場を持ってるからそれやってもいいですとか。
And even
やるべきですとか。
Queen Kunti said, watch out for this. Don't Janma Shvaya Shuta Shibir Edamanamada Puman Naivar Yabi Datum Vai Twama Kinchana Gotra. She said, don't if you feel you're entitled to something because of your birth, your education, your beauty, said then your devotional process will be ruined.
クンティの話でもそれを言ったんですね。多分自分が何か立場を持っているとかいいことを持っているそういうふうに考えてで 私が何かやるべきだ、みんなに教えるべきだ、そういうふうに考えると、それが一番できるんです。
Of course, it doesn't also mean that everyone should just be equal.
でそういうふうに言ってもみんなが平等である、そういうふうに考える必要はない。
That the Vaishnava culture, if an advanced devotee, obviously self-effulgent advanced devotee comes into the assemblage.
多分お寺にとかね、どなたか偉大な献身者が入った。
And then we all say, oh, you just sit on the floor, don't feel entitled to anything.
多分その偉大な献身者にも、じゃあもう自由に座ってください。
No, Rupa Goswami says, Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta, etc. That you should discriminate and see that there are different levels of Vaishnavas.
でルパゴスワミが言ってるんですね、献身者の中にもいろんな段階があります。
And you should respect them accordingly.
で、その段階によって礼を捧げる。
But it's not that an advanced devotee will pull out a card and say, hey, look it, I'm
多
advanced.
分偉大な領域が自分で言わないんですね。
They
私偉
feel-
大な領域です。
They feel like the lowest and that they're the servant of everybody else.
で偉大な領域が私が一番低い段階にある、そういうふうに。
Even if sometimes they have to take a role that seems like they're in the lead position.
多分その偉大な領域がなんかリーダーのポジションをとして。
On his Vyasa Puja day, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur from his Vyasasana was saying, you know, what am I, a big zoo animal sitting up here above everybody else?
バプティセダントセラスタブが自分のヴィャスプージャでヴィャササンに座って私誰ですかなんか動物みたいな
He said some people will criticize, who do you think you are? You're sitting up there, we're sitting down here, we're all Vaishnavas, why do you think you're special?
多分ヴィャササンに座ってる上に座ってるで私たち下に座ってるからそれを見てなんで自分がどんな立場にある
But then he said, Mahaprabhu has ordered that you become a guru.
でマハプラブチェダネマハプラブがみんなに命令したんですねグルになってください
Therefore he said, this is humility to take the order despite the fact that it's against your nature.
多分自分の性格がじゃないですけどでも命令として受けないといけないですね謙虚
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Prabhu?
はい、一つはそのアジャミラの話です。
あじゃまりな話ですけど
三つ
ご指
の
導
偶然の自己的気をつけなきゃいけない話で悪い誤解とハートの弱さっていうどうしてこうハートが弱くなってしまうその原因を教えていいですか。
One of the point was weakness of heart. So,
Weakness of heart.
so what is this weakness of heart? How it is
How
developed?
become weak?
Yeah.
Reason.
Durbalya Hridaya Durbhaljam. Prabhupada writes about it in the last purport to the 15th chapter of the Gita.
バガヴァギターでここについて解説で書いてあるんですね
He said, to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, one must become free from this weakness of heart.
クリシュナ意識で浄化していくためにこのハートの弱さから自由にしないといけ
The
ない
first weakness of heart is to become attached to matter.
で物質的なものと執着するそれ
This
が
is called asat trishna,
サックリシュナ
thirst for the non-permanent, the temporary.
一時的なものに執着する
And because we actually have nothing to do with the material world.
この物質世界で何も関係がないですね
But there's this weakness that I try to get comfortable here.
で多分これがハートの弱さですね口にある
And the second weakness of heart is becoming more and more attached and entangled in Maya.
でも2番目はマヤに執着する
So Prabhupada writes that the first 5 verses of the 15th chapter
15章の
indicate how one should overcome weakness of heart.
でそこでバガヴァギターの15の章でシルプロパダが書いてるんですね
So Urdhva Mulamada Shakam Ashvatam Praharabhyayam Chandam Siyasya Parnani Yastam Veda Saveda Vid Adashchorvam Prashritastasya Shaka Guna Pravrida Vishaya Pravala Adashchamulan Anusantatani Karmanu Bandini Manusha Loke Narupamasya tatopalabhyate nanto nachadirna cha sampratishta Ashvatamenam suvaruda mulam asangashashrena judhena tipa Chatatpadam tatparimargitavyam yasmin gatanani pratanti bhuya Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yatak praviti prashvita Purani nirmana moha jita sangadosha Adhyatma nitya vinivrittikama Dvanvarva mukta sukhatukha samjar gachantyamudha paramavyayam tat. So first he says you should become aware of the fact that the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world.
一番はこの仏世界は精神世界のリフレクションです。
That means you have to read Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita every day.
で、バーガワタムとバーガワギターを毎日読まないといけない。
No excuses.
それに理由がないです。
You have to study Bhagavatam.
で、バーガワタムをいつも勉強する。
You won't find it in the New York Times,
ニューヨークタイムでバーガワタムの話がない。
Washington Post,
ワシントンポスト、
Tokyo Times,
東京タイムズ、
CNN, Fox News.
Fox News とか、
None of them will tell you the material world is a temporary place.
こういうふうなことで新聞とかテレビでどこにも言ってないんですね。この仏世界は一時的なものです。
None of them will tell you a story of Urvashi and Pururava. That story will never appear in the New York Times. Only in the Bhagavatam. And the descriptions of lower energy and higher energy, only in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So as a poet once wrote, I don't know what you expect staring into the TV set. I mean, you stare into the TV set and then you think, why aren't I strong? Why aren't I becoming free from Maya? Well, that's why.
プロバーがいつも言ったんですね。このテレビを見て何考えてるんですかよくわかんないですね。そのテレビを見てが私が強さあるとかそういうふうに。
Yanti Deva Prata Devan, Pitranyanti Pratirbrata. You stare into the television set, you go to television land.
多分バガバギターで言った通りにもしあなたがテレビ見てるからテレビに入るんです。
Where is television land?
テレビの
It's in your
価値
head.
がどこですか頭だけに入って
It's
ま
not
す。
real.
それが本物じゃないです。
So Krishna first says, don't get caught in the fake out. The Maya, the whole material world, Tokyo, San Francisco, New York, it's a complete fake out.
でだからシケト僕が言ってるのは東京とかサンフランシスコとか全部一時的なものです。
All the advertisements, they have a beautiful woman, or they have a nice diamond, whatever it is.
でいろんな看板とか全部一時的なものですね。
Fake.
それが
Total fake out.
偽物です。
Don't get ripped off.
でそれに見ないでください。
And then he says, Tata padam tat parimargitam vyam. You have to cut down that attachment to these temporary things by the weapon of detachment.
でこの一時的なものの執着をカットするとか、それをどういうふうにするとか、もう執着する。
And once you cut it down, then you have to go on parikram.
でそれをカットした後でパリクラマに行く。
The parimargitavyam means you got to go on a journey. Like I'm going somewhere. I'm going back to meet Krishna.
でもう執着した後でちょっと旅するね。そのどんな旅というのはクリシュナのところ。
So to do that, you have to have a picture of Krishna.
でそのためにクリシュナの。
And you look at that picture and say, Krishna, I'm thinking of you and no one else.
クリシュナの絵を見てはクリシュナ、私あなたのことを考えて。
And I'm going to chant your mantra and no other mantra.
でこのマントラだけを。
Tasmad ekena manasa bhagavan sattvatamprati. One pointed attention, I'm going to you, Krishna, nowhere else.
でクリシュナ、私あなたのところに来るですね。他のところに行かない。
So Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, you should go on that journey and then meet that person.
で多分このバガバギターでクリシュナが言ってるのはその旅に行ってその人に会う。
Don't forget, he's actually a real person. He's your friend.
でクリシュナがどうなあなたの友達ですと。
How do we know that for sure, beyond any doubt, that he's a person?
でどういうふうにわかるんですか。その そうクリシュナが人です。
It's proved in the Bhagavatam.
バーゴタムで
Second
証
canto.
明があります。2巻で
Brahma met Krishna
ブランマがクリシュナに会いました。
and Krishna shook his hand.
クリシュナが
And he said, Padramte. Good luck, Brahma.
頑張ってください。
From one creator to another. Good luck on your work. And he shook his hand.
クリシュナがブランマに行ったんですね。
You can't shake hands with the Brahman, only with the person.
手を触って行ったんですね。
And then he says, Nirmana moha jitta sangadosha. Give up this false ego,
で、店のエゴを捨ててください。
the great burden.
これが重さですね。
Nirman. So, Nirman, man means I'm the man. They say in America, you be the man. You're the man. You're the man. I'm the man. I score a goal and then I'm like, I'm the man. I hit a little ball with a cricket bat and it went, 100 feet in the air. It's like, he scored a touchdown in the end zone, do a little dance and like. So whether you're on the cricket field, football field, or anywhere else, everyone's doing this little advertisement like, I am the man. So Krishna said, don't do that. If you can resist that, it is don't be the man. Nirmana. Just be a humble servant. Then you can become free from weakness of heart. You can live a real life, not a fake life. Then you become a real hero. Prabhupada says there's two kinds of heroes in the world. Those who become very expert at exploiting the material world. And they become famous. All the other little exploiters think, well, someday I'd like to be a big exploiter like that guy. But in the end, these exploiters are all exposed. There's a poem by Shelley, and he writes about Ozymandias. He was a great king, an emperor. He ruled the whole country with an iron fist. And now his tombstone is there was a stone that announced how powerful he was. Yeah, like when he was the emperor, he had these carved in stone that here's the emperor of the world. The poet Shelley says now it's lying in the desert sand, that big stone announcing this king. And the sands of time have worn it down. The only famous person is the one who actually controls his or her senses to serve Krishna. That's the real hero. That behind closed doors, when nobody else is watching, I do the right thing. And that's a hero. And Krishna always brings that hero to light to show other people that here's actually a real person. So we thank everybody for joining the Srimad Bhagavatam class. I have a great sadness in my heart for having to leave this place today. Thank you for all that you've done for me while I'm here. I feel overwhelmed by your hospitality. I have one last thing to say. Gauranga. Come on. Thank you very much. And thanks for everyone who joined us online.
皆さんありがとうございます。
Thanks for the translating team here in Japan.
翻訳のチームありがとうございます。
Yeah, everyone who worked hard, such a hard job to sit and translate.
翻訳するのは難しいことです。
Because even if the speaker says something you don't agree with, you have to say it anyway.
話してる人が何か言ってそれに同意してないけど、それを翻訳しないといけない。
So let's make a prayer.
祈りをしましょう、皆さん。
Dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please empower us to be humble,
力を与えてください。
to follow the regulative principles very carefully,
要請の原則を守るため。
and to hear and chant very strictly every day,
毎日チャンティングを聞
so
く。
that we may be useful in spreading your Sankirtan movement.
そういった運動を広げるために入るように。
Thank you for considering our request.
ありがとうございます。リクエストを聞いて。
Everyone who agrees with these ideas,
このアイデアを同意している
in part or in whole,
完全的には部分
please
的に
say Hare Krishna.
ハレクリシナ言ってください。
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarusha kripasnave cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Ananta Koti Vaishnavin ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Ijo desu.
Grace Vaisesika Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, hey, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman.